Hi everyone, hi you, and welcome back to episode 32 of Divine FM. How is everyone? It's been a minute. I apologize for my lack of uploading. I typically, try to do like a Monday, Tuesday basis, but, I can't box myself in. I've come to learn, and that schedule sometimes doesn't work for me. But thank you for being so understanding and, patient and waiting for this episode to come out. So here it is. This week I'm going to be talking about stepping into your power and doing the shadow work. And yeah, I have quite a lot of things to talk about this week, so I don't know how long this episode's going to be, but yeah. Stay tuned on this episode, because does that make sense? Stay tuned on this episode, or just, I don't know. I have some good shit I want to talk about, is what I'm saying. So, first I wanted to start with my highs and lows of this week, or maybe the past 2 weeks, perhaps, because you haven't heard from me since I recorded my episode with Johnny. So what is today, the 19th? So yeah, oh my gosh, it's been, I don't know, 2 weeks or so, a week and a half. I uploaded that episode with Johnny like I think on a Thursday or a Friday, so I'm pretty sure it's been like a week and a half. But yeah, I have been very busy with like work and of course, and I went on a vacation during 4th of July time. My family has a family reunion on my mom's side every year, and this was our last year going, but just for now. I feel like me and my sister will probably end up continuing the tradition once we are a little bit older and, have our own families and stuff. I would love to do that at least. And I'm sure my sister would too. But yeah, we went on vacation, and then I've just been working, I guess. Hanging out with friends as much as I can. And I just did my first market since my crash, I guess, my crash down on the 1st of July. I don't know if I talked about it on my podcast. I don't think I did. But I did the third Thursday market at apartment 144 in June. And, sorry, I was holding in that yawn for so long. I had to yawn. I did the June 3rd Thursday market, and I feel like that was the beginning of me feeling just very low emotions towards my business for some reason. I kept thinking that I had the ojo because I had really bad sales that day, and I just felt really sad and just bad and negative, and I just feel like I was taking on too much. My energy was going into too many outlets, to people, places, things, and I feel like that market that day just really taught me a lot, because I ended up breaking basically all of my inventory that was in my car on my way home, because I had gone to the Brick at Blue Star after to see a friend of mine, and while I was leaving there, I was driving in like a construction area, and I went over a bump that, was just fucking tall as hell, and yeah, my car like crashed, and not like crashed as in it crashed, but like since I hit that bump really hard, everything in my car like jumped a bit and crashed into itself, and it's all glass, and so you get the picture. It was very sad. I put a lot of time and love and energy into my products that I make for my business, and so yeah, that was a learning experience for sure. So I took about a month off I literally did, from markets. And as sad as that was for me to do, I'm glad I did it, because I fear I might have hit burnout if I continued the way that I was. Simply because I was, as I said like a couple minutes ago, putting my energy into too many things, people, places, things. And, I just needed to sit down and do some shadow work, and really understand what the negative energy I was feeling really was, where it was coming from. And so, yeah, I don't know why I even started talking about that. Maybe because of my highs and lows. I honestly couldn't tell you. Fudge. I honestly hate when I do that, because whenever I listen to my podcast back, I obviously can hear where I began, and then never, well, at least not very often do I find myself getting back to the original point that I was trying to make. But regardless, I'd like to think that I was talking about markets and the fact that I did my first market of the month. I'm pretty sure that actually was what I was talking about. And I was just really excited to go, and I felt really good about it. And I put a lot of time and energy and love, of course, into all of the new products that I had made. And I did some changes for my booth, and I put quite a lot more effort into my booth this time than normal, I guess. And I had really, really good sales and really good experiences with customers and other vendors. And it just makes me so happy to do that and to feel proud of my work and to, make profit off of, my art, basically, me being creative. And, I work an office job, and so whenever I have downtime at my office job, for the most part, I'm creative in there. And so a lot of the things that I make are either conjured up in my brain at work, or I make them physically at work. And, I'm just very proud of myself, and it just feels very good to be able to see my vision come to life. So that was definitely a high for me. Also, just my job in general is so fun. I have so many great opportunities that have been arising, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunities, and to be able to learn so much regarding, the plumbing and engineering industry. It's so fascinating to me. It's something very new and out of my league, it feels, but at the same time, I feel extremely capable. I know I'm a very intelligent woman, and, I've been able to learn this stuff over just the course of a couple of months, and, I'm forever going to be learning, but I love that, and I love to be in a environment that allows that to be. It makes me just feel so accomplished every day, and I feel like I'm truly doing something that's good. And sorry, I keep yawning. I just, it makes me feel very fulfilled, and I feel very grateful to have a job that I love and makes me feel so happy. I know it's hard to come by, especially at a job that you're planning on staying at for quite a while. I just feel so eternally grateful. So I guess I had to shout that out. But I guess we'll start. Okay, I'm sorry. Woo, I had to get that out. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, shadow work, guys. Oh wait, my lows. I'm dead. The way I don't. I was just gonna say the way I don't have any, but I guess I could say the fact that I had, well, it's not really a low because it's been a learning experience, but I guess I'll actually put it in the high category. My car broke down last night, actually, and for the first time, I guess this actually kind of rolls into the shadow work aspect, because I've actively been doing shadow work the past, I don't know, week and a half, 2 weeks, and this is something that's been coming up, is my shame about feeling eternally incapable, even though the version of me that I have been and have stepped into, is aware that she is capable. And so sometimes that inner demon, I guess, tries to come out and tell me that I'm incapable, you know? And that's just, you know, living in the past type shit. Like, just thinking about past failings, past quote-unquote traumas, and, you know, feeling like that's the current version of me in that moment of weakness, whenever I know, and the stronger part of me knows it's not. Yeah, so I was very proud of myself that I felt lucky, first of all, because I broke down in a very good place. Like, it was perfect. Like, felt almost serendipitous, if that. And this morning, I got up, and my sister helped me try to get my battery out of my car. Because at first I thought I could just charge my battery or, like, replace it. And long story short, I started a tool collection, and I have to replace my alternator. But I am so grateful because I just replaced my alternator a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, and it has a lifetime warranty. So, like, I dropped, like, almost 400 buckaroos, like, a couple of years ago, but, you know, that's gonna last me a lifetime. Like, what an amazing investment that I made. I'm so smart, and I love that for me. So, tomorrow, my dad's friend, and I are gonna change out my alternator. Which, like, is literally not even... I can't even say that's sucky because I'm excited. Like, I truly am. I'm gonna watch a couple of videos tonight and prep myself, you know, to be of help. And, yeah, so that happened. But regardless, I'm grateful, honestly, for the experience because I love, you know, doing mechanic work. And the more that I can learn, especially on my own vehicle, the better, because I feel much more comfortable, you know, at least driving a vehicle that's my own and that I've paid for. If, like, for any reason, you know, something goes wrong, you know, at least I'm the liability, you know. And so, not that it makes it any better, but it just is, like, good for me as a learner, you know, that I have something that I'm comfortable enough, a vehicle that I'm comfortable enough to work on. So, yeah, I'm grateful for that experience. And honestly, I couldn't tell you any lows because I don't have any. Sorry, I'm popping my knuckles. Yeah, I honestly don't have any. I am just grateful to be in the headspace that I'm at. You know, I feel like very balanced, and, you know, sometimes I can't say that for myself, but as of right now, I feel balanced and very grateful to have had, like, all of the opportunity to just think about what has gone on in my life, how I've responded, how I've reacted, how it's affected me, etc., you know, and just doing that internal, shadow work of understanding those parts of myself that I feel, you know, shameful about, that I feel regretful, that I feel like I have to hide or, you know, mask. And I feel excited almost to be able to step into that because, you know, you're able to learn more about yourself. You're able to literally unmask yourself, even from your own self. You know, sometimes through doing shadow work, you can learn things about yourself that you didn't even know were there, you know. That's been happening to me, like with mechanic work, for example. That's something that used to be a very, very deep insecurity of mine, that I felt so incapable whenever my car would break down, because I've literally bought 3 cars in my lifetime. Like, I'm not kidding when I say that not that I think or will say that I'm a bad driver, but I started driving like right when I turned 16. I got my license, and I bought my first car when I was 16, and I crashed it, you know, like quite soon after I got it. But I learned my lesson-ish, and saved up, bought a new car, paid it off, crashed it. And the second crash was not my fault, and it was a really scary crash. But that one I was grateful for too, because it really helped me feel comfortable driving to like a whole new level, because that accident that I was in that totaled my Honda Accord, I genuinely thought I was gonna, you know, pass away, like not be here. I truly was like in that position where I was like talking to God, being like, all right, I'm like, I don't know. It was very, very scary. And I am so lucky that I, you know, got out of that crash. Basically, like, injureless. Like, psychologically, I was not okay. But physically, I was. So for that, obviously, I am so, so grateful. But, yeah. I've had my Kia Soul for a couple of years. I think I bought her in 2022, maybe? I think it was 2022. I could be wrong, but yeah. So I've had her for a couple of years, and I love her. I put a lot of time and energy into her, and, you know, I am comfortable now with the roads and with my scary car that, like, seems to break down a lot, and I just have had so much that has happened to me into it, and it used to just be, like, a very, I don't know, traumatic feeling for me, but now it is, like, the literal opposite. Like, I get excited to have a learning experience, I guess, when it comes to fixing it, and it's almost like I'm proving to myself that I'm capable, you know, and it's just so weird talking about it, because even now when I talk about it, I doubt myself, because, like, I still want to tell myself that I'm not capable, but I've done so many things now that truly prove, just to myself at least, and that's the only validation that I need, that I am so fucking capable. And so I just really, have to fight those insecurities and that inner voice, that's trying to tell me otherwise. So yeah, that's something that I felt shame about and still sometimes do, but actively stepping into that version, or just that, like, layer of myself that I typically would hide away or stomp down or push away or just hide from, because shame is such an icky, nasty feeling. Like, we don't want to feel it. But whenever it's something about us that we feel like we literally can't change, and we are, like, I guess, quote unquote, born with, or our circumstances have, we've landed with these certain feelings, certain traumas, certain emotions that we feel hold us back, it feels impossible to escape from. But the only way to escape it, or not escape it, but the only way, I suppose, to lessen the load of shame and burden is to step through it and feel through it. And, although you're going to be scared and it's going to be uncomfortable and it might be distasteful and it might make you feel, insecure, shitty, there's a lot of negative emotions that we could attach to stepping into those feelings of shame, those feelings of regret, those feelings of shadow. But we are also born to be equipped to get through it and see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that light being who you truly are, who I truly am, just a little thought. I hope whenever I'm talking, I don't sound like I'm saying that I'm like no, when I'm like a know-it-all or anything. I feel like sometimes I tend to come off like that, and I'm really not. Like, 'cause this is something that I am literally actively working through. Like, it's not easy. Like, I just feel like I kind of am connected to, like, a collective, I guess, and take a shot every time I say like. Or maybe just take a hit of the spliff. Actually, every time I say like. I'm trying to be cautious and cognizant of how much I say that, because I know it annoys me. And I don't edit my podcasts like that, just because I want it to be very raw. So I have to be even more cognizant whenever I'm talking and I'm just kind of freestyling and not thinking about how much I say that word like. It's pretty annoying. But yeah, shit, I lost my train of thought. I guess I'll just continue. I guess we're just talking about shadow work. That's also something that I'm insecure about, actually, is that I'm very forgetful. And I feel, it makes me feel very unintelligent. And that's a shadow that I have, is the fact that I, feel as though without people really knowing me, I feel like there's so much like backstory that has to go into people truly knowing me and understanding me as a person, because I am just becoming more and more aware of how perception works. And it just makes me laugh because for a very long time, and I'm still like trying, like coming to understand it myself, but like I don't think about how people view me at all. Like I never think about it. But I feel like to a certain extent, like it might be actually important to think about a little bit, just because like something that, is a shadow of mine is that I feel insecure because people talk to me like I'm ignorant. And I think it's because I almost come off like I'm meek and like I'm ignorant almost, because I keep to myself and I typically don't have confidence in my ability whenever it comes to, I don't know, I just spend lots of time alone. I don't go out and like, meet new people, for example, very often. Go out into like like for example, I just went to a networking event for my job this past week, like a luncheon thing. And oh my god, I had to talk to strangers. I had to make small talk with people who are like twice my age. I swear, for like an hour and a half prior to like the actual slideshow presentation thing even happening. And then after, I had to network even more. Like, oh my god, that was so terrifying for me. Like, guys, take a hit of the spliff. Like, oh my god. That is something that really, like, pointed out to me. Jesus, I say like so much. It is not good, guys. Keep me accountable. Anywho, it was a very big eye-opener for me that I feel like people automatically assume, based, I suppose, on my looks and I suppose my body language, that I'm, meek and ignorant. And I think the fact that I am young and blonde, I guess, because I suppose as a stereotype, I just feel like my energy comes off as fucking young as hell, and she looks... And also, that could be my perception of myself. Like, see, this is something I'm literally still working on, because I'm trying to understand why I feel this way. Because people that I meet for the first time, while I'm speaking of this, I'm actually thinking about how... Because, like, I was literally networking with engineers and people who are also sales reps of these, like, very advanced systems and et cetera, and, I felt very intimidated, but I feel like they also kind of were intimidated to be there a little bit and, to be making somewhat awkward small talk and, but I didn't feel disrespected at all. If anything, I felt very respected while I was there, and, that's kind of what helped me have confidence and to continue to, network and make small talk, even though it was like a very uncomfortable experience for me. I feel like, sometimes, shadow work is just is understanding that something that we think other people perceive of us or think of us or say about us, whatever, is really just like something that we feel about ourselves, Like, the concept of life being a mirror sometimes is like such a hard concept for me to grasp whenever it comes to my internal emotions about myself, because I'm like truly stepping into this new version of myself more and more every day. Like, it feels like I'm I have gone through the metamorphosis and I'm kind of emerging slowly and my wings are still wet, and that feeling is so uncomfortable and scary, and you still have those memories and those feelings from the past, because I'm almost positive I read that or learned or in school or whatever that whenever butterflies go through metamorphosis and they, or caterpillars go through metamorphosis and they become butterflies, that they regain or still, maintain somehow, even though they literally dissolve, that they still maintain their memories as a caterpillar. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive I read that. And, I think that's just crazy. And, it's a good metaphor for what I'm talking about. That, like, even though we are this current version, or we're trying to be this version of ourselves that's better, that's, just is more healed, is, there's a lot of definitions, or there's a lot of adjectives I could use for just stepping into your power, I guess. But regardless, it's always going to be hard every day. I think doing the shadow work also is being able to have a good balance of learning about these parts of yourself that are icky, that are uncomfortable, but also knowing that these parts of ourselves make us who we are. And so we can't appreciate the good and the positive parts of ourselves without also appreciating those negative parts that taught us the lessons that, made us the person that we are today, regardless if you feel like you're a good or bad person. So, I'm being called, I'm being summoned. I think that's a sign that I should go. But, yeah. Monday! Oh, shit. Alright, time for me to go. But I hope you guys have an amazing week. And thank you for tuning in to Divine FM. I'll talk to you soon.